Let me tell you about that time when I was in the south of France and I chose violence. I chose chaos. I chose to disrupt things. Some of us are just natural disruptors and some of us are natural stabilizers, and you can see a lot of this in your specific human design chart. So picture this. We're at Cannes. We are enjoying the beach, catching the rays in the south of France. It's bougie, it's beautiful. There's free champagne and bubbly everywhere that you go. People are eating oysters and talking about which advertising ad is going to win. People are talking about, who's going to win the Cannes Lion, who is going to be the one who's going to be seen as innovative and creative and cool. And everyone is seriously posing for each other on Instagram. Now, this is back when I used to work for corporate. So I was there representing my company. I scored a ticket to be there. I loved it. I went to all of the VIP events. I saw Wycliffe Jean live in this private villa in the mountains. I mean, it was just amazing. But then here I am standing with the global VP of marketing for my company. And at that time I worked for one of the big four. So this is like the big leagues in corporate speak. And I was speaking to her and I was saying to myself, wow, I can't wait to chat with this woman and hear about what it's like to be such a powerful woman in business. This is, this was back in I want to say 2015 or so. So pre-Me Too movement. And then I decide to check my phone. I decide to look at my phone and what do I see? I got the news. Immediately, I'm sending it off to every woman that I work with in my contacts list. The list of people who got promotions just came out. All the partners. I was a management consultant, so all the partners, all of the directors, all of the senior managers, et cetera, et cetera. Not one woman. Not one person of color. It was tired and it was getting old. I breathed for a minute, took a second, read the whole email, checked everything out, and then thought to myself, you know what? This ain't right. This is not right. And I am going to be the one to do something about it. I cannot let this just happen without me saying something. So I turned to the global VP of marketing and I said, I want to ask your advice right now because I'm really pissed off about something and I want to know what you think. I asked her, I said, look at this. We have had major issues with diversity in our workplace. No one is getting the promotions that they deserve. No one is getting the positions that they deserve. And we're just at the point of no return. We feel like we're done. What can we do about this? Her advice to me was this. She said, tell them. Don't talk to me about this. Go to your department and tell them. Bring the proof, bring your point of view, be very clear, sit down and have a discussion. You don't got to tell me twice. I've got a Gemini moon over here. I will tell anyone. From that point forward, over the following hour, I was galvanizing the troops. Sipping my champagne on the beach in Cannes, in the south of France, I am getting the movement going. I'm cracking myself up just thinking about this because literally the whirlwind in my head, I was unstoppable. Sometimes you just hit that point, you hit that wall, you've seriously had enough and it's time to take action. I created a WhatsApp group of women in business, women in our particular department who had been talking about this and kind of were worried about it and were wondering what was going to happen. And we said, all right, let's organize, let's gather, and let's get something done. And we did. Less than a month later, I'm sitting in a room with VPs of Disney and all of these other big companies and a managing partner of my part of the business. And we are discussing how do corporates do better in the UK? How can we bring in more diversity? How can we make things more balanced? Gender equity in pay. How can we make it a safe and enjoyable working environment for women and people of color? We were having these conversations. We did major research. We did surveys. We brought all of the receipts and we proved our point of view. And it was pretty shocking to a lot of the old white men who were used to running everything and didn't think that there was a problem. They thought that they were woke. They thought that they, were creating good environments for their daughters when they, in fact, were the problem. And showing this in their face was really radical and really woke them up. I even had a couple of the partners come to me with tears in their eyes, crying because they didn't realize that this was a problem. I am proud of myself for doing this. And I left shortly shortly after this, of my own accord. I decided that this was not the place for me. I left my mark and then decided that I wanted to go on to greener pastures as a stepping stone to working for myself, because I knew that I did not want to work for the man any longer. I wanted to run my own business and be my own boss. And that's what I do now. So what's my point in telling you this story? I mean, being a disruptor is not something that you learn how to do. It's something that's like in your blood. It's something that's in your persona, in your personality. It is a natural thing for a lot of people. Same goes for being a stabilizer. You may be a disruptor, or you may be more of a stabilizer. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the elements in your human design that might indicate that you're one or the other. Of course, you know yourself best. You know what you are drawn to. In that situation, would you be someone who wants to kind of like create some chaos and affect change in kind of a shock and awe kind of a way, where you just kind of like, you're simmering, and then you build up and then you're like, right, it's time for change? Or are you more of a person who's like, I'm going to gather the intel, gather the information, and I'm going to make a slow and steady change as we go, who's all about negotiating, who's all about making sure that everyone is on board? Are you more of a stabilizer? We need both. We need both in our society. We cannot function with just disruptors, and we cannot function with just stabilizers. We need them both. So human design. Okay, so look in your human design chart. I want you to notice, are you a manifestor or a manifesting generator? This is a big indicator that you have inherent disruptor energy. I'm a manifesting generator. I love to disrupt shit all day, every day, 24/7, 365. It's just who I am. It's part of my DNA. And I knew this long before I knew anything about my human design. So that's one indication. People who have that motor connected to the throat, which is what you have if you're a manifestor or manifesting generator, like to get an impulse and take action immediately. It's like chaos, disruption, change, let's go. If you have a 1-4 or you are a generator in human design, this may be more of an indicator that you have stabilizing energy. Again, you could be a 1-4 manifesting generator. There are always exceptions. There are always nuances. Just know that. But if you have a 1 or a 4 line in your profile lines, or you're a generator, you may have more of that slow and steady wins the race point of view, more of that like, let's make sure that there's a solid foundation before we blow this shit up, right? Let's make sure we love you and we need you in our society too. Also, if you have a 2 line or a 3 line in human design, that's another indicator that you may have natural disruptor energy. So imagine if you have a 1-3 manifesting generator, what might that be like? Well, go ask Beyonce, baby, because that's her. She is a 1-3 manifesting generator. She is 2 parts disruption, 1 part stabilization. It is beautiful to see the two come together, and that's essentially the power of her Virgo-ness, the power of her cosmic blueprint. You can be both, but there is probably one that is more prominent in you. So what do you think? If you were on that beach in the south of France with me, how would you have reacted to that situation? What would you have done? Are you more of a disruptor or a stabilizer? Because honey, we need both, but it's really important that you recognize which one that you are so that you can utilize that gift, utilize that energy that you have in your business, in your relationships, in your work, and everything that you do as you really build a powerful personal brand in the world. Follow and subscribe and like for more content to learn all about your human design.